This is the private journal of Dr. Hans Ludwig Gruber, medical officer and scientist officer for the International Military Squad Team Fortress. It has been a few weeks since we lost the last of Heavy's clones. Stinky is sadly missed by everyone here at the base. Even Spy, who regarded Stinky as a mere object rather than a living thing of flesh and bone, made his respects to him. Like the other clones, Stinky disintegrated into a pile of ash, all while letting out one final mega fart. Heavy is heartbroken. He has locked himself in his room and has been quiet since the funeral. He does eat and drink and has communicated with us through knocks on his door. Those Morse code lessons with soldiers seem to have paid off. We all feel sorry for him, me especially, because I was the reason for Stinky's existence in the first place. It all started after we had finally managed to kill the deranged creature that was Scout's clone back in 2022. I was left to sweep up the remains of the clones when something caught my eye. Right, that's the last of it. I am never going to meddle with cloning ever again! Not even if Soldier aims a rocket launcher at my head! Now, I am going to go back upstairs, grab a beer, and try to reassemble what's left of my laboratory. What was that noise? Is that what I think it is? An egg? Did there somehow grow an egg-producing plant? Is the clone trying to reproduce itself? Come to think about it, is there going to be more eggs? I really don't want to deal with thousands of shy guys running around. Then again, I could be onto something. I better sneak this to my laboratory and study it further. So I sneaked the plant back into my laboratory and began to examine it. The plant in question resembled a cross between an ivy and a grapevine, but what I was more interested in was the egg. The egg resembled an ordinary white chicken egg, but the shell is softer than usual, and it feels like rubber. On closer inspection, with help from my microscope, I discovered that it has a greenish-yellow yolk. Luckily, it wasn't fertilized, yet that got me wondering, was there a way of fertilizing the eggs? Maybe if I inject a blood sample into it, it might incubate an exact clone of whoever donate their blood. It was a wild idea, but knowing me, I wanted to know if it could work. But that left the question of who would be a good candidate for the experiment. Scout and Sniper might be good candidates. Soldier is too unpredictable. Demo Man has a high alcohol account in his blood. And Pyro is definitely a no. What I needed was someone big and strong. Someone who would be perfect for the experiment. And then I realized that there really is a person like that.
Alright, I have broken my previous record. Oh, I'll just hit the showers and...
Hey there, Heavy. Can I speak to you for a moment?
Oh, hello there, medic. What is it that you wish to speak to me about?
Well, it has something to do with the cloning experience from yesterday. I believe that I have found another way of creating clones.
Really, Doc? You're thinking about creating more clones? Wasn't being terrorized by Scout's monstrous clone enough for you?
I know that, Heavy, but I think that I know where I went wrong. And anyway, I have a new way of creating them naturally. Have a look at this!
It's a plant, medic. A very strange-looking plant. And is that an egg growing out of it?
Yes, it is, Heavy. It's a plant that grows eggs. And it is with these eggs that I will create the clones with. But I need your help.
In what way, medic?
I want at least 5 samples of your blood, Heavy. I reckon that if I eject the plants with your blood, that the eggs would incubate and then hatch out little clones of you. There is a large chance that this won't work. But it wouldn't hurt helping me with one of my experiments. So, will you be my guinea pig?
All right, medic, I will help you. Just promise me that this doesn't backfire like with Scout's clone.
You have my word as a man of science, Heavy. Now let's go to my laboratory. We have a lot of work to do. And thus began my second experiment in cloning. I had injected Heavy's blood into the few plants and had placed them within one of the greenhouses behind the base. At first, nothing happened, apart from the plants growing bigger, that is. Then after 3 weeks of care and attention, the plants begin to multiply at great speed. They now form a whole row of the greenhouse. It wasn't long before everyone else became aware of what was going on, and soon everyone began visiting the greenhouse to see for themselves. And hey presto! The mashed up pulp has managed to sprout plants!
Oh, whoop-de-doo. You managed to grow a strange yet useless plant out of dead clone remains.
Oh, do shut up, spy! Don't be so bloody negative all the time! This is a special moment for Medic!
Thank you, Demo Man. If this actually works, we would be remembered in the history books as the first to create clones.
And how would that benefit us exactly?
Well, for one thing, the military would be interested. It takes long months of training to turn a group of people into soldiers. But with this, we can grow fully trained soldiers within a few weeks en masse.
Can we actually achieve that?
Well, probably not with this first generation of clones. But I can improve the formula over time, until we can get a fully grown person.
You know, I find all of this very hard to believe. You do realize that this brings up a lot of problems. What if the clones die seconds after they are born? What if they turn on us or are uncontrollable? What if Croc, Ken, or anyone similarly bad get their hands on this and start creating their own clones?
We'll get to that eventually, Spy. But for now, let's just take care of the plants. And that was what we did. We took great care of the plants. Me, Heavy, and even both Scout and Pyro helped as well. The plants had grown more after weeks of watering and maintenance, and the eggs got bigger and bigger every day. I would also check in to see if there was anything growing inside the eggs. Engineer had told me about how his grandfather would check the eggs on his farm. He would hold a lantern behind the eggs, and that would cause the eggs to become transparent. And he also told me on what to look out for, so that was how I checked the eggs. But I substituted the lantern for a flashlight. Then just after July, I ran into 2-Foot with great news.
And that is why I have severe diarrhea.
Thank you, soldier. We really didn't need to know that at all.
That was the worst story you had ever told us. It was worse than the one about you, the pound of butter, and the electric fence.
Please don't remind me of that.
There you are! I've got great news!
You finally managed to create that turkey octopus hybrid for Thanksgiving?
No, I did that last week. This is about the plants in the greenhouse.
What about them?
The eggs are fertile! I was just checking them this morning, and there are definitely things growing inside them. My experiment has worked!
Are you telling us that there are embryos inside those eggs? Yes, he did, Sniper. Haven't you been listening?
Can we go and see them, Medic?
Yes, you can. Heavy is already there. Obviously, I had to tell him first. He was literally bouncing with joy, like he had just had a whole bag of sugar. Yes, indeed. The eggs were fertilized, and we were looking forward to seeing what would hatch from them. But as the weeks passed, we all started noticing that Heavy was beginning to act very strangely.
Once upon a time, there was a little baby living inside an egg. He was surrounded by his mommy and several weirdos. One day, the little baby got big and strong and decided to hatch out of the egg and...
Heavy, are you seriously reading a bedtime story to a bleeding egg?
Yes, I am, Spy! I want my children to become used to my voice so that they can recognize me when they come into the world.
Do you seriously believe that they can hear you, or that they can understand what you are saying? They are just tiny little blobs sleeping amongst shell and egg yolk.
Don't you dare talk like that about my children!
For God's sake, you are becoming broody. This whole thing is turning you crazy.
Oh, just get out of here, Spy! I don't want you around. You are a bad influence.
Okay, fine. I can take the hint. I don't know why I came in here anyway.
Spy, what are you doing here?
I was just going for a walk when I heard Heavy talking in the greenhouse. He's reading stories to those bloody eggs.
Don't be mean to him, Spy. He's looking forward to becoming a parent.
Don't you start on that crap. Yes, it is a wonderful feeling when you are expecting a baby. But this isn't it. This is like building a model kit. These clones are being made artificially.
First of all, the clones are being created by plants. That makes them biological. Secondly, I agree that Heavy is being over the top, but that doesn't mean that you should behave like a shithead. And thirdly, How do you know what parenthood feels like? Unless you are talking about Scout.
I thought that we agreed to keep quiet about that.
Well, if you want it to remain a secret, you better start behaving properly and less like a prat.
Okay, fine. I guess that I was being an ass.
That's better. Now why don't you continue your walk?
All right. See you later.
Are you all right, medic?
What? Oh, I am okay, Heavy. I was just telling Spy off.
Good for you! Spy is really being an absolute jerk lately.
Well, he does have a point, Heavy. You are becoming too broody. All of these things like reading the unborn clone's bedtime stories is a bit idiotic. I mean, what's next? You buying a cow in order to have fresh milk?
Excuse me for a moment, Doctor.
Note to self, never admit to Spy that he was right. He was definitely turning into an expecting mother. He was seen talking to the eggs, singing to them, and has even become ultra-protective over them, to the point where he bit off Scout's finger after he poked one of them. He even violently killed several bobcats and even a western diamondback rattlesnake after they had gotten into the greenhouse. Though I never admit it, I was also looking forward to Heavy's clones being born. But unlike Heavy, I didn't let it go to my head. It was becoming winter, and along came the cold, which was weird seeing that our base is near White Sands in New Mexico. I have to keep the temperature in the greenhouse at an accurate level. Any hotter and the clones would die in the heat before they would hatch. Yet any colder and they won't hatch at all. But apart from that, everything in the greenhouse was coming along fine until one day. Okay, everything is alright. No mold, no insects, the temperature is normal, and there isn't anything else that is bad or worrying. Now I will be back in a few hours, so... What was that? Are you doing what I think you are doing? You are all hatching! Your lot are ready to be born! Just don't hatch yet! I need to get Heavy and the others. They would want to witness this. I have never run so fast since the time Soldier got himself stuck inside a used toilet roll. Though it wasn't as fast as Heavy when he heard about the eggs hatching. Anyway, Demo Man and Spy also came with us to witness a breakthrough in science about to happen.
Are you serious about this, medic?
Yes, I am Demo Man. The eggs are definitely hatching.
I'm going to be a daddy.
That's all we need. Another bald fat man about the place.
Shut up, Spy!
Be quiet, everyone! One is about to hatch!
You dig it, medic! You have created life!
Yes, I did! In the name of God! Now I know what it feels like to be God!
I am speechless. You managed to grow a miniature clone of Heavy from a plant.
Welcome to the world, little one!
Well, that proves that it recognizes you as its parent, Heavy.
How in God's name did it manage to speak?
My guess is that its vocal cords had fully developed during the incubation, and that it has Heavy's knowledge as well, so it already knows how to speak.
So, what are we going to do with you tiny baby man?
Maybe give it a bath first. The smell coming off of it is really horrific.
Spy's right! The smell is a horrifying mixture of rotten eggs, unclean toilets, dead fish, and for some reason a hint of diesel.
So, how many more are we expecting to hatch, medic?
Only a few dozen more, Spy. I expect that they will hatch every few hours. So
Hey up, another one is hatching!
I think that we've got a problem. And I was right. The heavy clones kept hatching at an alarming rate, to the point that after a whole month, 50 trillion were born. We were in danger of being overrun with heavies, but it turns out that some of them weren't developed properly, and a large chunk of them began to go pop or just shrivel up into a pile of ash, so they disappeared as quickly as they were born. We ended up with only 28 of them left, so we gathered them up and put them inside one of the warehouses. As it was expected, the clones have developed a close bond with Heavy, as they saw him as their parent, or Mama as they call him whenever they see him. They also inherited Heavy's love of sandwiches. They would eat nothing else, apart from the one who eats insects. That is, although their love for sandwiches has grown into a more obsessive behavior, as we found out when Scout was walking past the warehouse while carrying some sandwiches for our lunch. The clones somehow sensed the sandwiches, and managed to tear apart the reinforced titanium walls in order to get at him. They even got violent when we tried to get them off Scout. It was trying to get hold of a rabid tigers. Come to think of it, rabid tigers would have been easier to handle than the clones. Luckily, Heavy was able to gain control over them, and God was he angry. Scout was alright afterwards. Several cuts and bruises, but nothing serious. Anyway, I needed to examine one of them, so I had sent Heavy to collect a random one.
Why am I having to stand guard of those little troglodytes? I have better things to do than keep an eye on those mini freaks of nature. God, I need a drink.
Hey there, Spy! How are my boys?
Your boys? You're seriously saying that they are your children? Don't make me laugh.
They were created out of my own blood. Therefore, they are my sons. So shut your mouth or I'll shut it for you.
Okay, there is no need to get aggressive. Why are you here anyway?
Medic wants to examine one up close, so he has sent me to get one for him.
Well, good luck with that. They are all in the corner singing. It has been going on for hours. It's like they are rehearsing for bloody Pop Idol.
All right, everyone. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3.
Hello there, you lot!
Look, it's Mama!
Look at what I've got for you all!
Sandwich!
Except for you, my little stinky friend. You are coming with me! Medic would like to examine you and to make sure you are 100% healthy and strong. Afterwards, you will get the extra special sandwich.
Jesus Christ! You lot of greedy animals. Seriously, what could possibly make things worse?
I sued my diaper! 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 I sued my diaper!
Yep, that would do.
To be completely honest, I felt sorry for Spy. Having to change all of those nappies must have been a nightmare. Anyway, after Heavy had brought the foul-smelling clone to my laboratory, I began the examination. Right then, little one, I am going to perform some checkups on you. Now, some of them may be painful. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Doctor. I have read many medical books when Mama took me to the library a few days ago.
I didn't realize that you have an interest in medical practice.
No, it was because I was bored with the storybooks and went off to find something else. Mama didn't realize that I had gone off on my own because he was beating the living shit out of Uncle Soldier and Uncle Sniper for performing their karaoke way too loudly.
Hey! None of that foul language! Just because two of your brothers have foul mouths doesn't mean you should start swearing as well.
Sorry, Mama.
Well, anyway, let's get started with the checkups. And that's what I did. Everything that I had learned from the clones was written down in special reports. I was quite surprised as to how quickly they learn. And it seems that when one learns something, they all know it. It might be that they have some sort of telepathic link with each other. Over the many months that followed, the clones began to develop different personalities. And it was because of that, Heavy and myself began giving them names based on which personality they had developed. We did have a pretty good time naming them all, but sadly, more of them began to die again just like the previous ones. So by the end of the week, we ended up with only 8 left, beginning with the firstborn, the one with the seriously bad body odor. It was an obvious choice to name him Stinky. After all, his body odor was getting worse and worse by the day, to the point that we couldn't even breathe whenever Stinky was around. The other 7 clones are as follows. Snotty, named because he constantly has a runny nose and keeps producing huge amounts of snot. Giggles, named because he can't help but giggle a lot. Psycho, named because he has developed psychotic behavior problems. Kilkrizzy, named for obvious reasons. Bug Eater, named because he eats nothing but bugs and insects. Burping, named because he only communicates in burps. And finally Cooler, named because his body temperature is way below average. Despite them having different personalities, they are extremely loyal to Heavy, with the exception of both Psycho and Kilkrizzy, that is. Everything was going well for the next few months, until the day that Spy lost his temper with Kilkrizzy.
Look, all that I'm saying is that Twilight Sparkle can definitely beat Doctor Strange in a magic duel.
Don't be stupid, Scout. It is obviously clear that they are not evenly matched. Princess Celestia has a better chance against someone like Doctor Strange.
Only if she has Princess Luna and Discord backing her up. I still say that Twilight can kick his ass. I mean, didn't you see her fight with T-Rex?
We really do have the strangest conversations ever.
Yeah, we do.
Ah!
What was that?
That was Spy! That was his angry yell. I wonder what made him angry.
I don't know. Let's go and find out.
You little shits! Don't you realize how expensive that wine was?
Oh, dude, shut up, you stupid. You crazy was just showing off his juggling skills.
Yeah! It was an accident!
That doesn't exclude the fact that you had entered my private wine shed and start juggling my extremely expensive wine. Now I'll never be able to enjoy it.
Spy, we heard shouting. Is everything all right?
These 2 little shitheads have broken into my wine shed and had broken several of my extremely rare and valuable wines. Seriously? What in God's name possessed you 2 to do this?
It was just a bit of fun!
You said that after you deliberately dropped that live wire into our swimming pool. And also when you tried to run us over in that lorry. It was lucky that soldier was there with his rocket launcher.
Oh, shut the up!
Silence! How dare you speak to us like that? Ever since you 2 came into the world, you both have been doing seriously disturbing things. You both really need some extreme punishment and a psychiatrist for what you...
Now that had to hurt. Anyway, things got worse when Heavy found out.
Right then, that's the sewers unclogged. Maybe we shouldn't have Pyro's Taco Bell feast for a very long time.
I agree. And thanks for helping us shift it, Stinky.
You're welcome, engineer. I am glad that I have had the experience of shoving mountains of ultra-smelly shit out of a tiny sewer pipe.
And at least we were dealing with something less smelly than you.
Mama! Can you please excuse me?
Of course, little one. But where are you going?
To my room! I must go and make the music!
What does he mean by make the music?
It means that he is going to fart. To him, it's like listening to an opera or something from Beethoven or Mozart.
You really need to have a serious talk to him.
Yeah, I agree. He's even trying to make a record of his greatest hits.
Mama! Don't let the bad man get me!
Kill Crazy! What the hell have you done this time?
Spy, are you alright?
Do I look alright, engineer?
Just calm down, Spy, and tell us what happened.
That little freak and his pal Psycho had just broken into my private wine shed and broke several bottles of my most expensive wine. And not only that, he stabbed me in my happy place with a corkscrew.
He did what?
You really done it now, pal. What you did was way out of order. Not only have you vandalized Spy's personal belongings, but you also seriously harmed him.
It was just a bit of fun!
A bit of fun? You call stabbing someone a bit of fun? My God, why are you so psychopathically evil?
Because I am not a nice person!
Right, that's it. Let me punish him.
Not while you are that angry spy. Let me punish him on your behalf.
Too late.
After that incident, the relationship between Heavy and Spy remained negative for an incredibly long time. Things didn't improve when Kill Crazy joined his siblings by disintegrating. And sadly, a week after that, the last remaining clones began to die off, but not in the same way. Bug Eater attempted to eat an abnormally large snail, but something went wrong, and it ate him instead. Kiddles laughed himself to death, and Cooler electrocuted himself when he was making himself some custard. So, at the end of the year, only 2 of the clones remained, Stinky and his younger brother Psycho. It was round about that time when I claimed that the 2 of them were immortal, something that was proven wrong years later. It may be me, but I was having suspicions about Psycho. I was beginning to suspect that he might have caused the death of his siblings, mainly because Pyro had discovered a hit list hidden inside Psycho's bed. By that time, Stinky and Psycho were beginning to wonder about the outside world. They wanted to leave the base and explore everywhere, so we banded together and decided to give them their freedom.
Right then, you 2 are all ready to go off into the big wide world.
It is really exciting, Mama! I'm looking forward to sharing my music with the world.
Will you shut up about your music? You are just releasing bodily gases out of your shithole. There is nothing musical about it.
Hey! None of that, Psycho! Don't you dare ruin this for your brother!
You even said it yourself that it was extremely disturbing that Stinky is this obsessed with farting. I don't know why you can't just send him off to the nut house and be done with him.
You shut your trap, you ungrateful piece of shit! Here you are, being given the ultimate gift of freedom, and yet you are still spewing sickening evil crap! Believe me, mate, you will not be missed!
Right, that's it. Where's my chainsaw?
Me and Engineer had hidden it while you were packing. We also hid your dynamite, your crowbar, your acid-filled water balloons, your knife collection, and your stash of matches and gasoline.
You are
That's enough, you loathsome little shite hook. Your boss has arrived.
fine, but mark my words! This will not be the last time you'll see me!
It's all right now, Stinky. That bastard has gone now.
Thanks, Uncle Spy.
Spy!
I know, Heavy, you don't want me anywhere near you, but it has been for months now. I'm sorry for hitting Kill Crazy with a frying pan, but I was extremely angry at the time. I would have hit Scout, I was that furious.
Hey!
Sorry, but how many times do I have to say sorry, Heavy? I mean, how long will you be angry at me for?
Not anytime soon, Spy! But you are getting there.
Well, I'll be off then. But before I go, just remember this, Stinky. You've only got one life, so live it to the fullest. Don't get into trouble. Be good and generous. And don't become like Psycho.
Sure thing, Uncle Spy.
Looks like your boss is approaching, Stinky.
Oh, goody.
Guys, do you mind if I speak to Stinky alone?
Sure thing.
No problem!
Stinky, Uncle Spy was right. You have your whole life ahead of you. So don't ruin it by becoming like your brother Psycho and Kill Crazy.
Yes, Mama.
Also, do remember that your music might not be appreciated by everyone. But don't let that stop you. And also remember to study hard, get good grades, and stay positive as much as possible.
I will, Mama. Well, goodbye, Mama.
Goodbye, Stinky. Make your mama proud.
And that was that. Stinky and Psycho had flown the nest and went off into the world. Well, Stinky did. Psycho was sent to a boot camp in order to see if they can hammer some decent behavior into him. But I won't be holding my breath. Heavy was sad to see his clones leave. He says that he now knows how his parents felt after he and his sisters left their home. As for Spy, he and Heavy managed to reconcile and were now friends again. Scout and Demo Man felt sad for Heavy, so they tried to make him another clone. But something went wrong with the procedure. Somehow, a fly had gotten into the blood sample, and the result was a horrific hybrid of Heavy and a fly. This freak was given the name of Pootis Fly, mainly because it keeps repeating the word Pootis. It is also incredibly stupid and constantly cheerful, but it does has its positives, like the times we use it as a surveillance drone. As for myself, I have had enough of cloning. I had gotten rid of the plants and everything related to cloning. Soldier volunteered himself to dispose of it all. And speaking of Soldier, we haven't seen him for several months now. I wonder what he is doing.
All right, you maggots, attention. Now today we will be continuing where we left off yesterday. Remind us what we were doing, Sergeant Shortass.
We were listening to your motivation speech, sir.
All right then.
If fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight. Sun Tzu said that, and I'd say he knows a little more about fighting than you do, pal, because he invented it. And then he perfected it so that no living man could best him in the Ring of Honor. Then he used his fight money to buy 2 of every animal on Earth. And then he herded them onto a boat, and then he beat the crap out of every single one. And from that day forward, anytime a bunch of animals are together in one place, it's called a zoo.
Do you even know what you are talking about, sir?
Unless it's a farm.